produces greatness. Stop running from it and run to it. Stop telling me what you're going through. The greats, they get to it, they go through it. And the harder it is, the better. Now listen to me. I don't care if you sick. I don't care what you're going through. If you not dead, he ain't through with you yet. As long as you waking up, you still in the game. As long as you alive, you can still make it happen. As long as that breath in your nostrils move, you still in the game. You still can win. Now get your butt up. I don't need you thinking about it no more. You're doing too much thinking. You analyzing too much. You talking yourself out of it. I don't know if this gonna work. I tried and it didn't work. I just need you to keep moving. I need you to make up in your mind that the only way you can lose is if you quit. And I just need you to keep going. Get emotional if you must. Cry if you must. Get it out. But get your butt back up after you finish crying and put a time limit on the grind. You say, Coach, I need 30 minutes. Don't take it. But when you come back after that 31 minutes, you better grind. Because if you don't, you'll be stuck at that adversity for the rest of your life. And some of you are not successful because every single time you run up against a trial, every time you run up against a tribulation, you stop and you cut off beast mode. And what I'm here to tell you is, if you tell that thing, I'm here just like you here, and I promise you, I ain't leaving without the degree. I will not leave without that goal. I will not leave without that dream. I will not leave this university until I'm successful. I will not leave this job. I will not leave this client. I will not leave this opportunity until I get it. What will you do with your pain? Will you let it break you, or will you let it redefine you?
You can be successful without an education. You can be successful without coming from a rich family. You can be successful, I don't care what color you are, what faith you belong to, your sexual preference. I don't care what's wrong with you. You can be successful.
So what I did was I would act like I was going to community college, but I would just work on videos in my car and edit and stuff like that. I had straight zeros. And so now the clock had started because once my mom found out, I was screwed.
Were you aware of that? Like, that you're running a risk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't. And I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, yeah, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she doesn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like, I invested 18 years and this is what I get.
Where were you living? What part of the country?
North Carolina. That's where I've lived almost my whole life.
And so how does she feel now?
Oh, she's great.
Is she like
she's beyond happy. Yeah, she loves it. You know, put her in front of her friends. She loves talking about it. She obviously.
Oh, I always knew little Jimmy was gonna be a success.
No, she doesn't try to hide it. We would fight all the time. Even in high school, like, you know, I never once studied. I literally wouldn't even take my books home. Like, I legit don't think I studied once all of high school at my house. And so we would fight a lot. I didn't have the best grades, and so I would just make videos, and she didn't understand it, especially because back then it was just a whole different world. Like, there wasn't really a thing as a full-time YouTuber and stuff. And so there's a lot of arguments, a lot of drama, but ended up working out. She's happy.
The thing is, it's like nobody saw this coming, right? So you can't blame her.
Oh, dude, especially me in like the middle of North Carolina in a small town. I had like horrible acne. I'm you know, especially back then, really awkward. It's like no one, like people would have bet $1 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber. You know, it makes no sense. But I just like, I have, you know, hyper obsession, and I love this, and you know, you give it enough time, anyone can solve it.
Well, there's a lesson in that for people, really. Like, to just, if you do have a hyper obsession to something, there's a lot of people that think that because they're bad at school or because they're not interested in school, that they're destined to be a loser.
Yeah.
And that's not true. You can, the problem is school is too rigid. Like regular public school system, sit down, underpaid teacher, disinterested, not really connected with the work. You're not connected with it. You just can't wait to go home and do what you like to do.
Exactly.
And you get this thought in your head like, oh my God, I'm going to be a loser. I mean, that's how I was when I was in high school. I thought I was going to be a loser.
Well, and you take it a step further, because I thought, especially if you're like extremely passionate about something at a young age, where most kids aren't, then it's more exacerbated that it's like, you know, I didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like, I thought I was just like, just didn't even know how to speak. Like literally, I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube. And I would try to talk about something else. But back then I was so hyper obsessed that I literally just didn't know how to.
What were you obsessed about? Were you obsessed about other channels, your channel?
Everything from like learning how to editing, the pacing of the videos, like ideas, what's going viral, what's trending, what's hot. Especially back then, I had no idea what worked. I mean, I had to like self-teach myself everything, even, you know, frame rate on cameras, coloring of the video, just stuff like that.
And how did you learn? Did you learn from YouTube?
Yeah, well,
so like YouTube videos and tutorials or something?
Most of my growth came actually after I graduated high school. Basically what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts, 1 was a high school dropout, and 1, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study, like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. And you know, we'd do things like just take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got, or like, you know, like videos that get over 10 million views is like how often do they cut the camera angles, or like things like that.
Really? So you microanalyzed
everything.
Really?
Yeah, just, I mean, for like, we were very religious about it, and so that's where most of my knowledge came from. Is I just surround myself with these lunatics, and just every day, like, we didn't do anything. We had no life.
But everybody had sort of a similar vision.
Yeah, exactly. So we all had like 10, 20,000 subscribers when we met, and by the time we stopped talking, we all had millions of subscribers, and we all hit 1 million subscribers like within a month. It's crazy, because it's like, you envision a world where you're trying to be great at something, and it's just like you learning and fucking up and learning from your mistake. Also, my mom told me not to curse. Sorry, Mom. If someone could just like edit out the swear words and give it to me.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, so I could give it to my mom to listen to. That would be great. But like, you know, you mess up, you learn from your mistake, you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, you know, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from their mistake, they teach you what they learn. Stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Life is precious. Don't let your concerns, your worries, suck that out of you. We are alive for a reason. If you're here today, it's because you have a purpose. So make sure you focus on that. And then also, I've learned that the art of letting go things or people that do not serve you in a positive way. Why? Because life is short. Don't hold on to that crap. Let it go.
All of us have seen our destiny at some point in time, and we decided not to listen. We decided to ignore it, to no, that's not for me. Life came in and slapped us side the head, and we stopped dreaming anymore. The impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life. And that's what causes many of us to give up the experiences and the challenges, the defeats, the disappointments, and the failures of life. And we decide to prematurely throw in the towel on ourselves, or to sell out on our true potential, sell out on living our dreams.
The reality of life, whatever that truth is, it's not as powerful as the perception on how you see it. No matter what happens, it's the perception on how you see it.
I'm talking to you about elevated thinking. I'm talking about thinking in heavenly places. I'm talking about getting above the storm, you eagle. Stop talking to me about the storm and the recession and what's going on in the economy. That's for blue jays and robins and sparrows. Eagles fly above the storm. They don't read the weather report. They don't even care. Get above it. There is a way to get above the storm in your life. You got a reason inside of yourself. I'm better than this. I'm stronger than this. I will survive this.
I can live my dream. I can find my purpose in life. I deserve more for myself.
This is not going to be it for my life. I deserve more than this. See, that will start making you do some stuff.
And when I start changing that kind of mindset of beating myself up because of my mistakes and start looking at the possibility of my doing better, of my making the adjustment that would enable me to do what I want to do successfully, things begin to change.
Nobody can do you like you do you. You are in a class all by yourself. Nobody. You'd be shocked what you could do if you would know what I just said. If you would just breathe in what I just said, you wouldn't be so insecure. You wouldn't be so intimidated. You wouldn't be so vulnerable. There will never be another you. You are in a class all by yourself. You got a voice like nobody. You got a fingerprint like nobody. You got thoughts like nobody. You are in a class all by yourself. You are one of a kind.
You can if you believe you can.
It is how you think about yourself. Because if you think wrong, you go wrong. If you think down, you go down. If you think you can't get up, you can't get up. If you think you can't be free, you can't be free. If you think you can't learn anymore, you'll never be able to learn. Your thoughts are either dragging you down or taking you up.
Change the way you see yourself and begin to tend to the personal details. Understand that nobody's going to take care of your business better than you.
You're going to have to want it. You're going to have to want it bad. I want my head back. I'm tired of being drunk with grief and pain and frustration. I'm tired of going around in circles. I've wasted life. I've got to be smarter than I've ever been in my life.
You have to live the law of expectation. You have to expect your life to be better than it was, and it will be. There is no reason why it won't be.
I want you to throw off discouragement, doubt, depression, bitterness, distraction, foolishness. Woe be unto you if you go into another year and waste another year with the old mentality while somebody's in the hospital begging God for the opportunity that you have right now. You better step into this moment. I'm challenging you to change the way you talk to you.
I need you to look yourself in the face and I need you to repeat after me. This is my life. These are my dreams. I can have whatever I want to have. I can be whatever I want to be. I can go wherever I want to go. I can do whatever I'm bold enough, whatever I'm big enough, whatever I'm strong enough to dream. And what I need to do it's already inside of me. My goals will not be defeated. My dreams will not be defeated. I will not be destroyed. I will defend what's rightfully mine. These are my dreams. This is my life. And from this day forward, I will live it.
I remember looking in the mirror when I was a little girl and looking at all that hair and being like, why is that there? I wanted it to go down so much. I remember suppressing it and brushing it and being so frustrated that I was so big and so bold. I felt like I took up too much space. I have learned that I do not thrive despite of my blackness. My blackness does not inhibit me from being beautiful, intelligent. In fact, it is the reason why I am beautiful and intelligent.
The moments in your life that you feel overwhelmed by life, by people, by your own issues, by your own circumstances, by demands, by struggles.
You're gonna fail and you're gonna be in your head. You could be saying, I'm not good enough.
Life has a way of humbling you. Life will make you shut up. Life will mute you, shut you down. Because all of us, if you live long enough, will go through a period of feeling so overwhelmed that you think if one more thing, if the phone rings one more time, if I get another text, if I get another email, and sooner or later you feel, oh God, just get me out of this.
At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. And you have to deal with it.
Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you quit.
The part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life, recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You want to take responsibility for your life. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here.
I am not phenomenally skilled, but phenomenally willed. I will not give up. I will not surrender. I will not quit. It is a phenomenal will that says every time I get knocked down, I will get back up and I will succeed. I will not surrender. I need you to match whatever effort the enemy is putting up. Whoever your enemy is, match the doggone effort.
The only thing you got as a man, your character, your integrity, and what you stand on. What you say, what it means to you. If there's any fear in your spirit right now, it ain't for you. This for warriors, man. This for soldiers, man.
To him whom much is given, much is required. You cannot build anything that won't bring a battle. And if you're going through a battle right now, it's only because you're building something.
Your pain ain't permanent. It might last for a second. It might last for a minute. It might last for an hour. It might last for a week. It might last for months. But sooner or later, if you do not surrender, if you do not give up, if you do not give in, it will subside. You can talk like a victim, you can act like a victim, or you could be a victor, and you can say, despite the odds, I will defy the odds. What will you do with your pain? Will you let it break you, or will you let it redefine you?
You've got to continue to work on yourself personally. You've got to decide to be relentless. You've got to decide never to give up. You've got to find some reasons within yourself that will give you the stamina when life catches you on the blind side to get back up again, to keep on calling and coming back again and again and again.
You gonna quit, or you gonna make it to your silver? You gonna quit, or you gonna make it to your goal?
Because life is a fight. It's a fight for integrity. It's a fight for character. It's a fight for a good reputation, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, because they don't give you those things when you're born. So every morning, I've got to wake up and I've got to fight. I got to fight for my dreams. I got to fight for character. I got to fight for integrity.
But to win fights, you gotta have stamina. You gotta be ready to fight and bounce back. Punch and counter punch. Jab and jab back. You better not feel sorry for yourself. You better not lay down and quit. You better get up and fight. Because a happy spirit does a body good like medicine. Sharks are hunters and predators. They never stop swimming. In fact, if a shark stops swimming, it will die. If a shark goes backwards, it will die. Think like a shark, act like a shark, and behave like a shark. I'm going to think, I'm going to execute, and I'm going to win. I'm going to execute what I've been trained to do.
You got to chase it like a man possessed. You got to go get it.
And that's how you get to the next level. You have to be disciplined every single day and train yourself to follow through on all your fundamentals, and that's how you're going to be successful. You have to do it when you don't feel like it. You have to do it when you feel discouraged. You have to do it when you don't feel healthy. You have to do it when you're under the weather. Every single day, you have to train yourself to focus and commit to your business and follow through. And don't you quit.
until you win.
We're born alone. We die alone. And in between, we spend our lives looking for something, connection. That's all we want. Every once in a while, we might find it in a true friend. Many friendships will come only to fade as quickly as a firework, but some, a rare and precious few, turn life up to 11 and keep it there. You gotta hold on to friends like these because, just like air, you'll miss them when they're gone.
The thing that you are up against right now is not about you. The battle is not yours. That doesn't mean that you don't have to show up for the fight. It just means that ultimately the victory that you seek is not your victory. It is the victory because God has a purpose in you getting the victory over this situation. And as soon as you get that straight, you can get down to business.
You know, it's good to be optimistic in times like these. Don't be an old pessimist going around sad, negative. We need some optimism. The optimist sees a donut. The pessimist sees a hole. Which one are you? But we're going to quit looking at the negative right now, and we're going to say, I'm going to reap the prosperity of adversity. Adversity qualifies you for unprecedented prosperity.
What has your name on it will not go to anyone else. What belongs to you will not go to another person.
You have to decide that you're going to be in control and that you are going to do what you want to do. You are the machine and you can control the machine. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Sadness, no vote. Frustration, no vote. I don't even give my temper a vote.
On the outside, people don't look broken. You don't see bruises and you don't see scratches and you don't see scrapes and people don't walk around in a big cast, and so you can't tell with the naked eye. The problem is that there's a malfunction on the inside. So many times, depression, what it feels like is this, that I'm so afraid to share what's going on the inside because I'm afraid it might destroy you. So what I do is I bury it on the inside of myself, only to destroy myself.
Open people like to live on the periphery of boundaries, and they like to break boundaries between things because interesting things happen when you think a different way, when you think outside of the box, so to speak. That's what open people do. They always think outside of the box, no matter what box you put them in. You know, and sometimes you meet people that are so open that they're completely disorganized. Their thought process is almost completely associational, like a dreamer. They just jump from one thing to another. They're very interesting to talk to. It's very hard for those people to get their lives together because they're interested in absolutely everything and their attention just flips all over the place.
You can have what other people can't have. You can go where other people can't go. You can ask what other people can't ask for because you are not a whosoever. Quit acting like a whosoever. Quit asking like a whosoever. Quit asking like you don't have a right to go in boldly and ask. You are a chosen generation. You are a peculiar people. Say, I'm not a whosoever.
You were not born to live a boring life, a limited life. You were not born to have eyes, but can't have vision at the same time. Come on. People say life is short and unpredictable. No, life isn't short. It's just too many people take too long to start living on their terms. 14 years wasted. You can't get that back. But I'm living the life that I'm supposed to live, and I'm embarrassed. I took so long.
If we have any lack, it is not because we lack money or opportunity or resources. It is because we lack ideas that have taken form from information. If you search, you will find. So that is the way to discover ideas and life-changing information. Search. In order to find, you must search. You must go and engage in conversations with people of substance. You must go looking, go searching. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. And as you make a diligent search, you will find just the ideas you need.
You have to learn how to shut your mind against strifeful thoughts. And as soon as they come, you need to say, this is going nowhere. I've been there, done that, and I'm going to change my mind, get in agreement with God, and let God take care of the situation.
Sometimes God proves his love to us by what he's not letting us have. Doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. We just have to spend more time in the weight room, growing, developing, learning to forgive, learning to keep a good attitude when things aren't going our way.
You know what? Some of us are so used to bad that we reject better when it comes.
I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into a small corner. Don't doubt the future, don't doubt the possibilities, and here's the most important one of all, don't doubt yourself. If I've got miracle working power to change my life, so do you. If I can grow, you can grow. I'm asking you, don't sell yourself short.
You want to keep a social distance from poverty, social distance from hard times, social distance from living a life of mediocrity, social distance from people who are not going anywhere, a social distance from people who don't want anything, social distance from people who don't have goals and dreams. Why? Because they rub off on you.
But I wonder, have you taken the time to think about, why am I doing this in the first place? Am I trying to prove something to someone who disrespected me 10 years ago, who isn't even paying attention to my life anymore? Why am I posting this? To impress people who follow me on social media that don't even really know me? What is my reason for doing what I'm doing?
The next time that you're feeling weak or you're feeling lazy or you're feeling emotional, tell them you are declaring martial law on your mind and impose what you want on your brain and use that mind control to move your life where you want it to be.
We got to go backwards to get better. We got to go all the way back to get better. I have to be comfortable in my life to accept that sometimes loss is the way to gain, to know that sometimes the most painful moments are the most purposeful moments. I have to be comfortable in my life to stop comparing myself so much with people who are not meant to be the standard anyway.
No matter what comes against us, we will make it through. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That doesn't mean there's going to be no pain involved. But truly, we can do all things. Yes, you can make it through whatever you're going through right now. You can get so strong in spirit that you can be going through really, really difficult things, and while you are, you're still reaching out and helping other people, and they don't even know what you're going through.
I'm not in this by myself. I'm not in this thing by myself. You are not alone in the battle. You're not alone in the struggle. That God has a strategy, and when it's all over, you're going to see that even though you couldn't see him, he was there all the time.
If you have forgotten that you are only pretending to be this rigid, hard, inflexible character because somebody taught you that that's how you get your way in life, then you'll never be satisfied in your relationships. But if you choose the satisfaction of meaningful relationships, then you can do the work and can remember that this rigid character is just a role you are playing. Then you will succeed at that delicate struggle of creating deep, meaningful, and lasting relationships.
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds.
Do you have a mind to change? Do you have the mindset to be blessed? You have to decide to be blessed.
People around you change, and you can't, sometimes it's for the better, but sometimes it's not. And it's not bad. It's just that season was over in my life. And so here's the thing, if we try to keep hanging on to something when God is finished with it, there's no point in continuing to try to hang on to something that God's done with, because all it's going to do is keep you from the next great thing that God has for you. I feel real strongly tonight to tell you guys spring is right around the corner. Don't give up and don't be afraid of change, and don't keep trying to hang on to something that's just not working anymore. Trust God for something better.
Don't let anybody else's opinion become your reality. So many times people give up and they quit right on the verge. I'm preaching to somebody who needs to get some determination. I'm preaching to somebody who needs to get a spirit that says, I will not quit. I will not give up. I will not let up. I'm telling you today that it's time to pick up the drop dreams.
We've got a chance to grow like never before, but I'm telling you, there's going to be many enemies that's going to try to prevent us. Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back. Take care of your responsibility. If somebody wants to destroy your chances for a good future by their negative talk, negative thinking, putting it all down, I'm telling you, walk away if you have to, walk away. Whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your opportunity, threaten it back. Now, some of our enemies are on the outside. But here's the most important thing to understand. Some of our enemies are on the inside. You got to do battle with your own indifference. And you've got to learn not only to nourish your values, you've got to learn to do battle with your enemies.
Now, I don't know what you're facing today, but I know this, everybody in this room is facing something. If it ain't nothing but life. If you don't have nothing to fight but life, if everybody likes you and you're just as beautiful as you can be and as healthy as an Olympian, if you deal with nothing but life will try you to the breaking point.
When you're absolutely certain that if I do this, it's going to get that result, and that result's going to change my life, you'll do it. When you think it absolutely is not going to work, you're never going to do it. The middle no man's land of maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, that's the piece that kills people. If it's a must for you, you got to make it work.
The way you think affects the way you feel, and the way you feel affects the way you behave. If you want to change the way you act, you start back here with your thoughts. If I'm acting depressed, it's because I feel depressed. And if I feel depressed, it's because I'm choosing to think depressed thoughts. You can't change a feeling, but you can change a thought.
Our problems do not overshadow our purpose. Our weaknesses do not discount our work, and our deficiencies definitely do not delay our destiny. We have to learn how to work our weakness. You gotta work your weakness because all of us to some degree have a thorn in our flesh. We all have gaps, we all have deficiency, we've all made mistakes, we've all got these things that feel like a thorn in our flesh.
So often people don't know how to achieve something, and because they don't know how, they don't spend a lot of time getting additional clarity. They don't spend time imagining what the future would look like with that thing or being that thing or creating that thing, because they get stuck on the how. And what I would suggest is that if you're willing to invest time in getting clearer around something or imagining, you build neural networks that represent the memory of an experience that has not happened yet.
People can change their standard by getting around where it's better. People can change their standard by getting associated with what's true, like the bills they gotta solve, the problems they gotta do it, but they gotta find the why, and they gotta come up with some daily rituals to get them going and just do a step at a time. That's where you get momentum. Poor background, and we had no money for food at times, quite literally, and it was rough. So I want to make sure money wasn't an issue for my future family. So I figured out how to make money. You don't do that by some new strategy. It's a psychological shift as well as a strategy shift. It's not about money. It's like growth. It's really your capacity to take your creativity and stop trading time for money. Time to become the chess player, not the chess piece. Yeah. Let me teach you so you understand what's going on. It's not that complex. They use all these big words, but when you know what's going on, you don't get screwed, and more importantly, you take advantage of the system instead of letting the system take advantage of you. Here's the truth. 96% of mutual funds don't match the market. That means 4% succeed. Now, what are your chances of picking the right mutual fund? Because one of the things Ray Dalio taught me, he said, Tony, everybody invests in what they think they know. He said, whatever you invest in your lifetime, that area is going to drop 50 to 70%. There's zero exception. Show you mathematically, and he can show you historically. So he said, you have to diversify, even though you don't want to. And you have to divide these monies up. When you think you're in a balanced portfolio, you're not balanced. And the reason is stocks are 3 times more volatile than you'll find in bonds. What does that mean? You're 50-50 with your money, but you're not 50-50 with your risk. You're 95% at risk and 5% on the good side. That's why everybody loses. When you interview people that make at least $750,000 a year, right, just under $1 million, 80% of them say they'll never retire. You interview people that make a very little amount of money, they all talk about wanting to retire. And the people that do retire say they'll retire after 75. Because the real goal is not to have to work. If you don't work, you'll go stark raving mad, because we all need to be productive to feel alive. So people's mistake is, and kids don't know this, adults don't know this, that you won't earn your way there, but you can compound your way there. I don't believe in emotional intelligence. I think it's useful, but I'm more interested in emotional fitness, because intelligence is a capability. Fitness is a state of readiness. If you are fit, you can take that demand right now and you can deal with it. You can deal with that physical stress, that emotional stress. Same thing's true with psychological fitness, emotional fitness, right? So I'm pretty fit. And part of that is not because I'm so smart. Part of it is that I've taught this for decades. The most powerful muscles to me are not physical, but as strong as important as they are. It's like faith is a muscle, courage is a muscle, determination is a muscle, playfulness is a muscle. You know, passion unexpressed weakens. You know, faith untested gets smaller. So I'm always, I call it deep practice. I'm always pushing myself to the edge, and pushing yourself to the edge makes you stronger. But when things are bad, people think it's going to be bad forever. When things are good, they think it's going to be good forever. And they're always wrong. Life's cyclical. If you got $1 billion and every day you live pissed off and frustrated, the quality of your life is called pissed off and frustrated. But if you have nothing, but you're euphorically grateful for whatever you have, you're the richest person that you're going to know. He said, so it doesn't matter how much money you got if you don't have gratitude. So I believe you have to condition it. You don't just hope that stuff shows up.
So what are you most grateful for recently in your life?
So many things. You know, I've buried 3 fathers and 1 mother, and you know that affects your life. I've had a physician look me in the eye and say you have a tumor in your brain, and so I've had those moments that when you've had extreme stress and you push your way through it, you build psychological muscle. It's like it takes a lot to knock me up. You keep expanding what I would call the threshold of your influence. You know, everybody has a threshold of control. And if you get beyond it, you kind of freak out. So I was working 18-hour days, nothing was working, and I was broke, and I felt embarrassed, you know, I should be doing better than this.
Sure.
And so I was driving home from Orange County on the 57th freeway in San Gabriel Valley. I can remember it so vividly because it was almost midnight. And I was at this breaking point. And then I was like, why am I not, you know, doing better? And then I just pulled over the road, and I used to keep these journals. I still have them, written journals. And I wrote in big lines, you know, the secret to living is giving. And I started crying. And I realized I am so focused on what am I not getting.
Receiving.
I'm not focusing on what I'm giving. Yeah. So for 6 months, man, it turned me around. But then, you know, something else to get in your body. It was in my head, it was in my heart, but it had to get in there to stay. And I started going through some really tough times, and I lost everything financially. And I was mad at everybody because, like, I'd loaned a friend $1,000, and, you know, I'd been doing well, and he didn't even return my phone call. And I thought, you know what, I got to eat. So I'm not going to drive my car because I'm not going to spend the gas. I'm not going to pay for parking. I'm going to go to an all-you-can-eat place and load up for the winter, right? So I could get more, like 1 meal a day. So I walked there for the 3 miles, and I go, okay, I'm going to go and load up. And it was all about myself and getting through this. And this woman walked through the door, actually a very attractive lady. That's probably why I got my attention. And I went to see who her boyfriend is, and there's nobody up there. There's a little guy down here. It was obviously her son. And he's wearing this 3-piece suit. He opens the door for her. He pulls out the chair for her. He stared into his mother's eyes. I mean, it was just pierced into her eyes. I don't know what it was. It was something about him was just so moving. He was such a sweet, caring, loving young man. It was mother that moved me. So I paid for my meal, walked up to this young man, introduced myself, and I had no plan. And literally, I just reached in my pocket, took all the money I had, changed all the bills, and threw it right there in front of him. He looked at me like this. He goes, I can't take that. I said, sure you can. And I just walked out the door. But the reason I tell you the story is I had no car. I had no money. And what I felt was I should have been like, what the hell did you just do? I had no meal. I wasn't going to eat. I went home that night. I laid out a plan. And the plan was going to take me, 10 days, 2 weeks. So I thought, well, people fast for a week. I could fast for a week, that type of thing. And I was in this great mindset about it. And I woke up the next morning, and I get the old regular snail mail shows up. And it's this guy I've called a zillion times and wouldn't return my call. I open it up, there's a check, $1,000 plus interest and an apology. Wow. So I'm sitting there and I started to cry, honestly. And I was just like, why did this happen, And I don't know if it's true, but I decided that day this happened because I did the right thing. Because I didn't have a plan, it wasn't a strategy. I just felt this little soul beside me. I knew it was right and I did it. And I didn't do it because I thought I could or I couldn't. I didn't even think about it. And That's the day I became a wealthy man, because I didn't have any money, but scarcity left my body. You don't ever get beyond scarcity, you start behind it. You make a decision to get beyond it. And I have plenty of ups and downs since that time, various times in my life, but every interaction to me is an important interaction. And sometimes that interaction is just being kind. I know it sounds stupid, but the kindness can, to the right place at the right time. You know, somebody can be suicidal, you know, they're being kind and changes their state. And every single day, you got to feed and strengthen your mind. Until you do that, you're always going to be in fear. Because fear is automatic. The human brain is designed for survival. It's not designed for success. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. That's your job. And when you start seeing that somebody else can do it, and you see they're really good, you start to believe, you start to get certain. Massive action, you constantly change your approach, and then it's find somebody worse off than you are and help them. But when you do that, it gets you out of yourself. I feel like life is short, and while you're here, I want to have the most impact that I can. So I go deep, then I go wide.
What's your definition of greatness?
To me, being great is being outstanding. To stand out from all the rest. And as you know, in sports, it can be by, a few microseconds. If you stand out, you show other people what's possible. Not everybody likes that. Some people get angry and think you're showing them up. Other people get inspired. I've always been inspired by somebody who's the best in the world at what they do. And so I think greatness is somebody who just will not settle and finds a way to do, be, share, and create in life what they want, as opposed to fitting in. I think most people are trying to not be rejected. But if you want to have a quality life, I think you just have to put yourself on the line. And so to me, greatness is people that put themselves on the line, they keep growing, they won't settle. And so I want to give people freedom. To me, that's valuable. But, what I do with my life is I look at what I see that moves me. So when I find things that I'm very passionate about, I like to go deep. I think we live in a Facebook world, a Twitter world, a tweeting world, texting world, where people are, by technology, not realizing they're becoming more and more shallow. I mean, there are people ending relationships by texting them. And I think a lot of people are dissatisfied because technology is making us go faster and faster. So I look for things to go deep in. And I think in our lives, there's a few areas that matter. Your body, your emotions, your spirit, your relationships, your economics, your business. Those half dozen or so areas I like going deep in, and I'm going to keep doing it.
If you fit in, you're just boring. You're just one of many people. Don't let anyone dim your light. Like, you should always shine as bright as that. But it's about instilling confidence in people. And I think me having success, I can say to her, look, I was really weird and I've managed to have success. So if you just carry on doing you, you're going to have the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, why fit in when you're born to stand out? Like, that's why I feel like all of us have our very own unique DNA that can't be duplicated.
There's no one in the world that can do what you do.
Absolutely.
But there is someone in the world that's going to try, and they're going to fail because they should be doing what they do best.
Absolutely.
Being yourself is so powerful. And I feel like a beautiful person, but without just sounding weird about it. But because of it, I have now a confidence in myself because of being myself, all of these great things have happened. So now I can walk into an award show dressed however I want and be super confident about it, because it's like I've done what I set out to achieve without compromising. You have to be persistent. You have to be on people to make it happen. You got to look at your peers and the people you look up to, and I have a great respect of people that can do things that I can't do.
But I was shocked to find out that you get no help with your writing. Like, you write everything yourself.
Lyrically, yes, but I think I need a lot of help with production and making songs, and there'll be songs like The A-Team and Perfect and stuff like that I'll just go in and I do 100% myself, whereas there'll be a song like Galway Girl, which is quite a collaborative thing. I'll go in with a folk band and then we'll all write it together with the folk band, but I would write the lyrics for that and then it would be shapes in it, basically.
Do you look at other artists different when you find out they don't write their stuff?
Only if they have nothing to do with it. I need to write songs to make me feel better about myself. You get out all your demons in music and then it kind of clears out your head. It's like therapy. It's exactly therapy.
I saw Elton John call you one of the best songwriters of this generation.
That's very kind of him. I don't know, I like writing songs, but I feel like I'm improving day by day. By going in the studio with people like Chris Stapleton and Bruno Mars, you're just expanding your palette and learning new things.
I think you're growing by just living life. Like the older you get, the more experiences you get.
You can't become better unless you're around people who can teach you things. If I just worked in the studio, things would start sounding a bit stale after a while. Which is what's so great about doing this collaborations project is I've worked with so many different people and seen how, like Bruno's process versus Travis Scott's process versus like Chance's process. We'll get onto it, but he literally puts a mic up and he just has the verse repeating. And he's just there in the studio, and it starts off as a mumble, and then like words go in every now and then like the first sentence is done, but the rest are mumble, and he'll just do it over and over and over again, and then the verse is done.
You and Cardi got similar energies too, though, because Cardi is authentically herself, and you're authentically yourself. You think that's why you gravitate towards her?
Yeah, I mean, I love how unfiltered she is. You know, she's literally she's so media trained not to be media trained. You know, like her whole shtick is she goes on and says whatever she wants, and that is what works for her. Whereas I never had a media training either, and I feel like I get to just say what I want. And she's successful because she is who she is. There's no one else that can be Cardi B, and there's going to be countless people now that try to be.
Yeah,
she's had her success,
and it's going to be fake.
Yeah,
that's what I call trying to be fake real. Like you're trying to be fake authentic.
Yeah,
you know
trying to be fake Cardi.
Yeah.
I had 2 songs I always wanted to do with Eminem. I was like, if I ever get to work with Eminem, there's 2 songs I want to do. And one's like an introspective storytelling one, and one is something that kind of is more of a nod towards some of the cheekier songs on the Marshall Mathers LP or like the Eminem show. And I was like, when I work with him, because in my mind I was like, it's always going to happen. I've just got to wait. I'll do those 2 songs, and one led to the other. So I did the River song with him for the Revival record, and then through that got to know him, and then I was able to sit down with him in Detroit and approach him with this song, and it didn't feel weird. And now I feel like I've ticked my 2 boxes. It feels good.
Don't Touch Me. What's that record about? It sounds self-explanatory, but
probably what we were talking about earlier, having the anxiety of being in a club.
How often do you get in the mood where you don't want to be bothered?
Every day.
Every day.
So I live here.
Every single day.
So I live here, yeah.
But when you go out, you know that's necessary.
When I just have to be in the frame of mind. Like when I go to an award show, I'm like, right, today, like it's just happening. Like I'm not gonna get anxiety because this just has to happen today. I don't know if it just creeps up on you and then it's just there. But I don't really go out to clubs anymore. I used to Cherry used to live in New York, so I used to live there in her apartment, and we used to go out like most nights. But it was different then as well. Shape of You brought me to a different level of fame. Like I thought I was like at my peak, and then suddenly it was like a completely different world. It's the world of your Beyoncés and your Jay-Z's and your Adele's, and it's just suddenly there's so much interest, you know.
How hard is it to protect your energy? I'm talking about your mental well-being, your mental space.
I find I've been working on it for the past eight years, and whether it be getting rid of a phone and only answering emails like, you know, twice a day, or whether it's like cutting down my friendship group to the bare minimum just so I trust everyone, or whether it's living in the countryside in the middle of nowhere and kind of closed off a bit from reality. I think all of these little things are in place to protect this. I think my mind, and it's all working, I think.
Were you ever a social person? Because it seems like you're social, but you only get antisocial at industry functions.
Well, I used to be super social at industry functions. My hobby was to go out to things and meet people that I admired, and then go out and drink with them and end up at a bar. That was like my favorite thing to do. So, you know, I kind of like ended up meeting all my musical heroes and going out to bars with them and having fun with them. And then it's just, now when I go to these events, I just have social anxiety. I just can't. I hate large groups of people. It's ironic because I play shows for a living, but I just don't. I feel claustrophobic, and I don't like being around too many people.
You think it's because you are Ed Sheeran and people demand too much of you?